And we are live. We want to welcome y'all back to the Open Field Podcast, episode 4 off a happening draft. How's everybody doing?
Good, man. Good. Real good.
Yeah, man. I've been talking about this draft pretty much all week so far, not gonna lie. So just more talking about this draft. Regardless, with all the time I've been talking about this draft, I still don't understand this Falcons pick. I'm not gonna lie.
To be fair, I still when that short dropped, like our freaking us three, our reaction on that when they did that was still crazy. Like I still can't believe it, but we'll see what happens. But before we get to the draft proper, we just got a few things we got to take care of. And starting once again with Colorado, the noise around the Colorado Buffalo program has not stopped, especially since we've seen a lot of notable departures from the program. Kamani McLean, the running back, is it Troy Edwards? I always forget his name, but um, so I just wanted to ask y'all, how do y'all feel about Shador Sanders coming out calling one of the teammates that left mid, who talked about his experience in the program, and then the fact that raised some concerns with some people, and then Deion came out to protect his son and saying Shador will be a top 5 pick, and what is your son doing? So how do y'all feel about that, and how does that make them look? Like, how does that make the Colorado program look and feel, especially since they're going to be one of the more notable programs going into the next college football season?
Um,
Go ahead,
for,
early.
for me, I just think that hang on, lie, man. I want to see Deion succeed, of course, but I am getting tired of hearing about Colorado. I just think that Deion, he did such a great job at creating the aura around Colorado from the moment he touched down there, leaving Jackson State. But I think Deion didn't realize how much magnitude and how much power he had. It's almost like the Shannon Sharp, Cat Williams interview. Like, I don't think Shannon Sharp understood how powerful that was. I think Deion don't understand, like, all of the talking you've been doing, bringing my Louis bag, like prepping up dogs, and how your son is one of the best quarterbacks in a long time. Basically coming out of college football. How Travis Hunter is, him being a Heisman candidate and things of that nature, and him being a dog and one of the best corners. Like, he did a good job of selling us, and I think he oversold. So when now, like, I feel like a lot of this stuff is starting to bring distractions. Because, dog, I just want the football season to start already, and we can see exactly what Colorado has in store, what these new guys look like. I've seen a couple footage of Warren Sapp. he was meant to coach. Lord knows he was meant to coach. Him revving up the D line and O line, got them boys competing. Like, but even then, we have to see it. And I just feel like if it's not what it's supposed to be, with people leaving and transferring, it could be a bad situation for Deion. Like, I know I said before that, like, Deion's job is secure, but if he have another bad season, he might not have another 2 years of this, just because of the hype he's created around it. He kind of got to win now. Like, he got to be Alabama or Miami U or whatever, college you want to say dominated. He need to be that right now. Like, Deion should run college football for the next 2 or 3 years. From the way he talks and how everything is hyped up, if he's not running football, it's going to be sad to see, man, because we watched how fast they turned them last year. It's going to be even worse this year, because now it's going to be, you ain't had no excuses. You've been here a year. You got the transfers. You added NFL All-Pros and Hall of Famers to your staff. You got to win now.
Yes, Hydro.
So, another thing with the Sanders thing, I thought it was corny on both him and Shador, how they were trashing that former player. I think it was Deion who posted the dude's stats, saying that he had like a mid-year and stuff like that. Like, at the end of the day, these are kids that are looking up to you, that are like they were going to Colorado for you. And yet, even if you don't leave on the best of terms, like, you're the more of the adult in this situation. You're supposed to be their coach. You're supposed to be that figurehead. And so the fact that you're on Twitter bashing a kid, a 19, 20-year-old kid, maybe even 18, to me, that's just corny. That's just corny to me. I didn't like that. They did their main problem last year to me was like the linemen. They added offensive linemen. They got some from high school and stuff like that. So like that excuse shouldn't exist anymore. I think they got a 5-star. Then they got the one from Houston who was second team All American, I believe, and they got somebody else. So Shador doesn't have excuses that he's not going to get protected. But yeah, the fact that Deion's saying that like, oh, I'm a franchise, I'm a boss, yada yada. Like my players go where I say they go, stuff like that. You have to eventually back it up with some type of substance. I do believe in the culture that they're building, but at the same time, I can quickly see it getting really toxic. So that's what I got.
I challenge Deion with this statement right here, man. When Shiloh and Shador are gone, what is Deion going to be like? That is what I'm going to be curious about, because obviously, somewhat lucky for Deion, Shador is good. He's really good. People are saying that he could be a top 5 pick next year. He could potentially win the Heisman next year. What if Shador wasn't this good? How loud Deion would be, I'll be curious about. Now, fortunately for us as fans of the sport,
I think Deion doesn't get a job if Shador isn't so good. I'll be honest with you.
What does he do next year? What does he do next year when Shador is gone?
Exactly. When Shador is gone off the team and Shiloh by proxy, Shiloh's cool, but he's not Shador.
And Travis Hunter.
Who's like his adopted son. Once these guys are gone, good players that he actually cares about, what is he going to do? Because for a guy who left his program, he's fine with throwing him under the bus. He's fine with it. So how much care will he take for all these other players that are not his sons, his adopted sons, all those people that are not like generational talents with Travis Hunter or just extremely good quarterback with Shador? What if he just gets guys? Will he care?
Will you connect as much?
Yeah.
I think this year is riding on him being successful, mostly because if he's successful this year, they make the Final Four. They look good this year. They're a top 5 to 10 team. Then I think the recruits come next year, whether Shiloh and Shador leaves or not. But I think if he has a bad year this year too, I think guys are looking at it like this might be a place I don't want. This might be an all talk place. So I do believe that this year, what's happening, Dev? I do believe this year is really riding on him being successful, because this year will prove whether or not you bring in recruits after Shador, Shiloh, and Travis Hunter.
Is this the year where the playoff is expanded, or is that?
Yeah,
it's this year.
So how many teams?
16.
It's up to 12 now.
12.
So that means at least one per conference or two.
Yeah, so I expect if the way that he's hyped, the way that he's built up this roster, the 5-star recruits that he signed, I expect him at least to make the 12 minimum.
To be honest with you, Lonnie, if we're keeping it a stack, he should probably win the Big 12. He's moving to the Big 12 too. He should probably his Colorado the way he's talking. Colorado should win the Big 12.
But I'm saying like he should at least be in the playoffs.
You got wind blowing in the background there. Just mute your mic.
But no, like I said, I believe in the system, but I can see how it is getting toxic, how it is starting to be for clicks. But I think Shador and like Ryan Garcia, they threw a concert in Colorado together and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, the hype's there. But that also brings the haters like, oh, yeah, you want to be like a rapper, you want to be there for clicks, go to Colorado. Because why is Ryan Garcia starting to become a rapper at Colorado? That's just memeable material. But my only thing is like when it comes to future recruiting, if I'm a parent and I'm seeing Deion bash a kid that didn't work out, that's a red flag to me, because we don't see other coaches going on Twitter saying like Lord Jesus at former player stats and like commenting on former players like that. We don't see that. So that's a concern, but we'll see how it all plays out.
Look, I think when you bring that much publicity to yourself, obviously you're gonna have haters, but you're not helping yourself. Like, it doesn't look good that your starting quarterback is calling a player who's, when I read his quotes, seemed like his gripes with the program were valid. So hey, look, like, I'm trying to become a better player. I'm trying to do this, but it felt like the coach didn't care about. But you want to call him mid? Let's be honest. 1% of the 1% of college players go to play any kind of professional ball. But they're there because they believe in you. They believe in the program. They believe that they're learning from one of the greatest NFL players of all time, who also attracts some of the greatest people ever play. But then if you're talking that bad about a player who's in your program, all right, Cormani McLean aside, and then you want to have your son, like, oh, my son's going to be a top 5 pick. What about your son, Deion? You're a college head coach. You're a head coach. What are you doing responding like that to fans or whatever?
But I think y'all don't understand that. I think a lot of y'all thought Deion was mature, but he's not. Like,
No, he's
Deion
not
has
mature.
never been Deion is the guy who, like, he's the guy who like talks a lot of shit anyway, and now he has a lot of money and he can really talk shit. Like, Deion is the guy who always been boisterous, outgoing, saying what he wants to say. I'm that, you know what, I'm that N-word, I'm this, I'm that. He's always been that guy. So now you give him a team and an organization, and you give him the hype. Like, this is how Deion is. Like, he is that type of person, dog. It's like, money don't change you, it reveal you. Neither does fame. Like, Deion has always been a showboaty. I'm out to get the money. I'm this, I'm that. Like, this is who Deion is. Deion is the immature kind of guy who, like, goes low. Like what he tell Tony Romo? I tried to go the high road, but I don't know how to find it. He likes to, like, talk shit. He likes to be boisterous. He likes to, like, low, like you know what I'm saying, like dig and dive at you. That's who he is as an individual. Like, so for him to have this much fame, popularity, and shine, he's just gonna be that type of person. Like, even when in Jackson State, when he went against a guy, he would say he wasn't swag, and he was like, if I ain't swag, then what is swag? Like, that's who he is. So for me, it's like a lot of this, how Deion talks, how he acts, like, this is who he is. And if you are the son of this guy, then that's who Shiloh's gonna be. I mean, Shador's gonna be too. Like, I'm my dad's son. Like, I'm my dad's son. A lot of things my dad do, I do, my dad did. Like, I am like my dad. So if my dad is this individual, this is who I'm adopting it from. Even a lot of his players are adopting this. We Colorado State, we like an HBCU, we like the new it. Like, this is how Deion is. So it doesn't surprise me at all. Like, y'all just gave a man who's petty with power. I wish I did.
But early, what's that gonna say the future transfers and recruits? Because if I need development, if I'm a player and I need development, I'm not gonna go to Colorado then. Because if I'm struggling, we saw a player that was struggling with Colorado just be called mid and then, like, basically tossed aside. That's not a good culture to have. If, like, because we know some of these kids need development. Some of these kids need good coaching. Yeah, they have coaches, but, like, if you're just not one of the top people, they just, like, cast you aside. That's not good.
Well, I think Deion will have to learn how to coach after Shador leaves. I'm gonna be honest with you. He's kind of getting exposed to me more and more about how much of a coach that he really isn't. I don't think Deion is an X and O's coach. I think he's a developmental player coach where, like, he can latch onto a certain player, this player being his son, and he can really train on them. But as a unit, I think Deion delegates a lot of his responsibilities to his other staff. And I think after Shador leaves, I think he'll get more humble. I think college football will humble him more once Shador leaves, because unless you find the next Shador or the next, Caleb Williams, you will be mid or you will be looked at. But I think that as long as they win, he gonna get that anyway. But I ain't gonna lie, I think this whole Deion, to be honest with you guys, what's happening, Grant? I think this whole Deion thing doesn't last more than 5 years. If I'm being honest with you guys,
I can see that.
I think this has a short life on it.
I mean, unless he shows that he can coach without his sons there, and he can show that he can be consistent at it, I don't think he's staying at Colorado that long. But
me neither. And I don't think he's good enough to coach an NFL team. So I think if he doesn't coach in Colorado, he goes away for a while. And then if he comes back, a couple years from then, I think he'll be a better coach, because this experience will humble him and he'll actually have to really break into his playbook and learn the X's and O's of the game.
Or a top university is going to hire him because they know that despite all Deion's flaws, he's still going to attract the younger athletes to come to the program.
Yeah, I can see,
he's still a success for Colorado.
I can see, like,
he's made them more money.
Bowie, like,
Who?
maybe Memphis. I'm talking about like big, just overall colleges that could probably like pay him a lot of money. Hey, maybe even Florida State if they have a few bad years. Miami U needs to get turned around somehow. So I could see like some of these big colleges just throwing a bag at him to see if they could, because Deion prime Deion in Miami, that would I feel like that's a lot bigger than being in Colorado. I think he
Don't forget, you can say he hasn't been a success, but for Colorado, he has been. He's made them so much money in terms of enrollment, all that stuff. They call themselves the prime university now because he's turned it around for them financially.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if he can do that on the field. Right now, he has not.
Colorado relatively still a small school, but I'm saying like a school like Miami, a school like Bowie, Auburn, like these are schools that like need like a jolt or need like a new image, and like he has the cachet to bring that in. It's just all about.
Oh, Deion is definitely on that Colorado because it's his first step up. Once Deion is able to coach the Ohio State level, Alabama levels, he's dropping Colorado
he'll probably
as soon as he can. He's dropping Colorado as soon as he can, honestly. Once he's able to move on to the next, that's exactly what Deion's going to do. Colorado is the first team to actually give him some shine, but I don't think he stayed with Colorado at all. If he is successful, he leaves Colorado. If he's not successful, he leaves just off the merit that I have to figure this thing out more, and I don't want to be ridiculed for it. And he comes up with some excuse about maybe his foot or he wants to spend time with his family or this and that and the third. But I do believe that he won't be good enough to answer your question, Prodigy Hydro. He won't be good enough to just follow his son to the league like right away. No, hell no. Not even as a DC.
Yeah, I agree.
Side note: Ryan Garcia just tested positive for PEDs.
God fucking. After the fight, damn.
Yeah, Ostarine.
Hey, and the culture strikes back. The culture strikes back because Devin Haney.
Wow, Garcia.
What type of PEDs though, man?
Ryan, you have
Ostarine. I don't know what type of PED that is, but it's Ostarine.
Oh my god.
Maybe he really didn't train.
Yeah, this dropped like a minute ago. So.
Oh my god! All right. Well, that dude's aside, and let's give Grant a moment to take care of himself. We're moving on to something near and dear to Early. We're talking about David Tepper. You know, as the draft was coming on, David Tepper has not had the smoothest run as an owner, as a new NFL owner. And, ain't nothing like watching an NFL owner go into a local restaurant to tell them to change their sign because they was trolling. They said, hey, David, let the GM pick. Let the coach and GM make the picks. And he walked into that restaurant to have a problem with the restaurant owner. And it was all caught on video. They didn't get him in 4K, but they got him.
He pulled a TI.
So, David Tepper, we probably need to talk, obviously, forcing his coach to take Bryce Young. The fact that he was caught throwing beer at fans. All this stuff. He been acting real nasty. We haven't been giving him the heat that he rightfully deserves. But let's start. This is your owner of your favorite team. What's going on, bro? What's
David Tepper. How do I explain this? So
how long has he been the owner for? Like what, 3 years?
Around 3 years. I think this might be his third year on the job as the owner.
So the last two owners in sports that basically own major sports teams that had to leave was Donald Sterling, and then Richardson.
Don't forget Daniel Snyder. They finally made him sell the team.
And you're right, Daniel Snyder too. Most of these guys, it's always something sex related, sex harassment related for the most part.
Well, the Panthers owner before him, I think he sold the team because he was getting accused of like some allegations or something, wasn't he?
Yeah. A lot of people blame him for Raymond Carruth too. But I think that David Tepper is the guy that has a lot of money, right? Started a great business, has a lot of money. But money don't change you, reveal you. And where I'm from, money don't make a lame any different. Like you just a lame with money. David Tepper is another one of these cornball type guys who has a lot of money, had enough money to buy a team, and now you are giving a complete idiot the reins of an entire NFL organization. And he's using this as his claim to fame, a la Jim Irsay, a la Jerry Jones, and trying to he's one of those guys that he's trying to make a name for himself really fast. So he's intruding really fast. He wants to, now that I'm doing this, I'm doing it different. I'm running it different. Unlike a Steve Baldwin who kind of lets things flow. You could tell Steve Baldwin is a fun guy without an NFL team, a basketball team. And David Tepper is the guy who he's going to make so many mistakes, but the worst part about it is that unless he does something vile to where we have to get rid of him the same way we always do in sports, we make you trade him, he's just going to be the bad owner who makes bad decisions and puts Carolina in a bad place until maybe eventually fans will stop coming to games, will start losing some money, so then he'll delegate his actions. But I got to be honest, as a Panther fan, I know we got about 5 to 7 years of this.
I mean, the plays devil's advocate, though. Like, y'all were terrible before David Tepper. And when Tepper, yes, you were terrible before Tepper. And when Tepper took over, you were not a good team.
Richardson, I'm sorry. We went to Super Bowl 03.
Okay, that's a while ago.
We kept a steady
pretty. They also went in 15.
Okay, we kept a pretty steady pace. We drafted Cam Newton. He let us. He gave us a lot of.
No, you can't talk about the entire history of the Panthers. This guy's only been an owner for 3 years. Like, you at the very least have to talk about the 3 years before he was the owner.
No, I'm saying, and ever since he stepped in, dog, the Bryce Young, like.
That's what you hate. That Bryce Young selection is what you hate the most.
But it's but what that is, Riddell, it's a microcosm of who the hell he is as an individual. My boy, you don't know ball. What you did was you took a nigga, you use a ball like it's corporate. Or I'm gonna take the nigga who's nicer, whose tie is nicer, who comes from an Ivy League background type of mindset. These are athletes, dog. These are not. Oh, this is Jim, and he had a good family, and his family came from Yale and Stanford, and I want him to run my organization. These are athletes, my boy. You do not judge an athlete just solely off of, is he a good guy, and does he show the right things? No, because if that was the case, Cam Newton wouldn't have went first.
But so are you saying that's what he did, Riddell? Are you saying he just looked at like 5 mock drafts? He's like, hey, they're all saying Bryce Young, so we got to go.
No. Let's not be nasty. Let's not be nasty. Bryce Young deserved to be in consideration for the first pick. It's not like it's Anthony Bennett, where it was like, no chance in hell you drafted Anthony Bennett with the first pick. Bryce Young was the guy that most people considered a first pick. CJ Stroud was that guy that was competing for that first pick. It was between those two guys. Yes. Was CJ Stroud ultimately better? Yeah, of course. He was ultimately better, but it wasn't crazy. I think trading up to get Bryce Young was much, I'm not going to lie, because the Panthers, the year before they traded for Bryce Young, were a good team. They almost made the playoffs.
We would literally have
Darnold and Baker Mayfield.
Williams if we would have just let let Andy Dalton be the starter. We probably still have the first round pick, and we just have Caleb Williams. Like you have to, dog. In order to be an NFL owner and run an organization, you got to think ahead, man. You can't just make a decision to make it. You have to think ahead. I don't give a fuck what Bama say. Any Alabama fan, anybody who's a Bryce Young fan, it's no way you watch Bryce Young play football, knowing Caleb Williams is right there, knowing Shador Sanders is coming, and said to yourself, even Quentin Ewers, whoever, it's a lot of guys, and said to yourself, Bryce Young is a generational talent who can go first overall. Now, although we didn't know who CJ was, if you had to pick between the two, there's no way you don't pick CJ simply off his athleticism alone. If you're a real owner and you really understand the game of football, you know, hey, look, we're going to a situation where we're starting from absolute scratch. Because we're starting from absolute scratch, us getting the player who needs the most around him to win might not be the best idea. Maybe we're not even ready for a quarterback at all this year. Maybe we trade the draft pick down, try to get some more picks, restart next year, do a Chicago Bears type of situation where we got 3 or 4 picks in the first round, and then we figure it out that way. If you were being intelligent, but you like you said, went out there, like Lonnie was saying, saw some mock drafts and said, you know what, we can go with Bryce Young. I don't understand it. I don't think I understand it. Like, Bryce Young will never be a first-round overall. That's too much pressure on him. He'll never be that good.
I'm not gonna go that far. As an Alabama fan, I did think CJ was better personally. I did, but Bryce Young still had potential. Like he still has. I don't
to
think
be
he does,
what y'all keep saying that. Give me a comparison. Can he be Drew Brees? Because I'm looking at his comp of his size, his arm strength, his athleticism. Who can he be when you say that's a first overall draft pick 10 years from now? He deserves to go number 1 overall. Who can he be?
I think if he becomes Drew Brees early,
I think
you're
he could be
singing
a
to the
better
heavens.
Tua.
If he
But is that
becomes
who you
Drew
think?
Brees, you're
Is that his
singing to the heavens.
comparison?
I think he could be a better Tua. I think he could be a better Tua.
People were
If
saying
he
he
could
could
be
be
he
a
ain't number 1 overall. Period.
That's fine. But I'm just saying that's why I
Brees
see like
and
a better
Kyler
Tua.
is what people were trying to say with
A
with
combination
Bryce
of
Young.
Brees and Kyler?
Yes.
With what athleticism? Because Kyler got
He's
wheels.
not as athletic. Or
He doesn't
Not
need
as
to be
athletic.
as athletic.
Not
That's
as
what
athletic
the
as
At 6
Kyler.
foot, at 6 foot, 195 pounds, you do, Random. You do. You do it that size. If Kyler, guys, can we be real?
Could he
If
be
Kyler
Russell
wasn't
Wilson?
fast,
Could
what
he
the
be
hell would
Russell
Kyler
Wilson?
be? If Kyler wasn't fast, he would not be able to play in the NFL.
Look,
wouldn't
I
go that
think.
far. No,
I think this. Look,
that's
he's
not-
faster than Bryce. He's faster than he's faster than Breeze, and he's more accurate than Kyler. I think that's what they were looking at.
So
You
Russell
don't
Wilson.
have to be,
So
as you
Russell
say
Wilson.
that. If you can
Russell
find a way
Wilson
to
got
play
burners
number
too.
two-
Stop it.
Bryce Young throws in the middle of the field better than Russell Wilson.
So even if he's Russell Wilson went 3rd overall. I mean, third was a 3rd round pick. So,
But he was better than his
But
projection.
coming out of college, he was not as nobody was seeing what Russell Wilson became out of college. He transferred his last year to Wisconsin. Right, Russell Wilson
was pretty goddamn good at Wisconsin to me.
Come on.
He wasn't amazing. It was good though.
Bryce Young was better in college than Russell was.
Bryce Young had an Alabama team, but go ahead,
But he also balled. He wasn't just like he was getting carried.
Bro.
Like you treat him like he was AJ McCarron. He wasn't that.
It wasn't that good.
Early, I'm not mad at you for like seeing what Bryce Young did and be very upset because I saw what Bryce Young did and I agree. He was awful. He was like, I think he's like my bottom 4 starting quarterback in the NFL. Like he was bad. He played bad. He had flashes in the last like 5 games of the season where it's like, okay, now we're starting to see something. Before the draft, before the Panthers picked Bryce Young and were terrible this recent year, I just want to reiterate the reason why people thought they could win the division is because the year before they were good with Baker and Sam Darnold. They were good without McCaffrey, and they led on that defense and that offense that ran the ball well. The problems that I have with the Panthers mostly, not in addition to the Bryce Young stuff, is one, they got rid of DJ Moore to move up in the draft so that you lost your number 1 receiver. And 2, you got rid of the coach that was helping you win games for what's his name, Frank Wright?
Mm-hmm.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
So you had you wanted
Frank
to keep
Reich.
winning. So you should have just kept the continuity that was there and just build onto that. That's when I'm like, he thought he was smarter than what he actually was. Kind of similar to the GM for the Falcons. So I hear you, but it's hard to really say how good or bad Tepper will be because he's only been here 2 years. First year was good, second year was bad. Now it's his 3rd year. So I think right now the Panthers are in a way better situation. You got 3 receivers. You got a run game with Jonathan Brooks, Chuba Hubbard. You got a better offensive line. Your defense is going to be good, even though Bryce Burns is not there, but you don't have to pay Bryce Burns. You brought in another DN. I think it was either Jadeveon or Trace Young. I forget which one.
I think it's Jadeveon Clowney.
Jadeveon. This is more of a reflection of how good this team will be and who Tepper was this 3rd year.
Okay.
So I would give him some leeway.
So we're done. Let me ask you something, right? Let's have some fun. You're an NFL owner, right? You're an NFL team owner, right? You're at the phase where you're trying to figure it out. Cam didn't work out. Tried to bring him back. He wasn't the same. So now we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure it out. But I'm doing my research, and I realized that, okay, we got Anthony Richardson coming out in this draft, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. Okay, do I get a quarterback this year? What's coming up next year? Drake May, Caleb Williams. You know, you might have not knew about Daniels being what he was going to be. You know what I'm saying? Micheal Penix. Like, you see certain guys, be like, okay, that's next year. Well, even if we suck next year, okay, we suck next year. Let's trade some pieces. Maybe we can get something for next year, and maybe we can kind of tank next year because the NFL is not the NBA where it's lottery picks. Maybe we can get something, figure something out next year, and hopefully we can get one of the more dynamic of the quarterbacks coming out next year that people believe in more. Or do you say, you know what, we trade up and get Bryce, and then we figure it out from there? If you are a real NFL owner and a GM, y'all sitting down contemplating, what do you do?
I think
the year before the Panthers played pretty well, so like they really were like a quarterback away from like being a playoff team. So that's why I think that they shot the gun a little bit too early. But I do put the Bryce pick on the owner because the GM wanted CJ.
You should.
To me, when you make a decision with
the coach wanted CJ too, and you forced
when you make a decision with the first round pick, it should be a three-way vote. The owner, head coach, and the GM. If the GM and the coach say we both want this player, the owner should not overstep both of them that he put in charge of his team to pick somebody else. That shouldn't happen. So if they're saying CJ and you say Bryce, 2 versus 1, also the football minds, you should go with CJ.
So, yeah, Tepper got too. I agree with this. Like, as a new owner, this man got way too ambitious. Like,
it's not just
he thought he was about to do something crazy as a new owner, and that's when you make your mistakes. Like, similar to our conversation with Deion. He's a new coach. He's gonna make mistakes. He got a little too ambitious. He needs to take a step back. Tepper needs to do the same thing. He needs to take a step back and go like, bro, you're relax. You're not that guy.
So, but even with David Tepper, David Tepper is a guy who you got your money in stocks, distressed financial stocks. The Appaloosa funding, which basically helps people get out of debt and things of that nature. So you got your money off stocks, and you don't have no actual. You're not like a Jerry Jones who played football in high school or college. You don't have any real football. So you go. You know what? As a businessman, I'm gonna buy the Carolina Panthers. It's a good deal. It's good business. Buy them for $2.5 million, almost $3 million. In 10 years, they'll probably be worth 6 or 7, right? Billion, right? So you buy it off a business play because it's a businessman. That's what you do. Same thing. The owner of the Lakers, I can't think. Not Donald Sterner, whatever his name. I can't think of his name right now. Jerry Buss did years ago. Jerry Buss was a businessman. It was a good business deal, right? You step foot, and this is one of your. You step foot. Into a year, team ain't that bad. It's your second year. You don't know ball, bro. You don't know ball. So if your coach, your GM is saying, "Hey, look, I hear you, Mr. Tepper, but I'm telling you, CJ Stroud is the guy." And again, I'm a real Panthers fan, so I follow all social media, I follow all radio stations, all that stuff. Every time CJ Stroud stepped into the building, we were hooray. When Bryce Young stepped in the building, it was, what's up, Bryce? CJ Stroud? CJ! You know that guy when he come in, Riddell here. Riddell in the building. Hey, random. Like, that's what it was. That's what it was. Riddell in the house. Random here. Anyway, like, that's what it was. It was the feeling of, this is our guy. We love him. But again, because this is a microcosm of who he is, you another Jim Irsay, another Jerry Jones, you're so egotistical and narcissistic. No, I'm gonna be the one who make this happen. I'm gonna be the one who make this go. My boy, if everybody around you is saying something and you don't know ball, go with it. Because even if CJ Stroud doesn't work out, okay, we'll try again next year. Or, all right, we can reassess the situation and sit down as a team. For you to come in as an owner who don't have no football knowledge, no football background, and just think you're gonna make something happen, anybody would have told you taking Bryce Young as the first overall pick wasn't the play. And I read articles that said once he picked Bryce Young, the Texans was ecstatic because they never wanted Bryce Young anyway. So it's like, dog, you made the most bonehead decision, and now we're in a place where I don't know if we can afford to have another bad season. I don't know if we can afford to tank again. I don't know if we can afford to. And then we're giving up draft picks. We're giving up players. Like I don't even know what the Panthers. I'm not expecting nothing out of us next year, dog. I don't even know which way is up. I'm a root because I'm a fan, but I don't know which way is up. And I just feel like it was all because one man decided his word was law. His 66-year-old non-football knowledge having ass word was law. And because I'm the owner, I'm gonna stamp it. Say what you want to say about Jerry Jones. I can really count a lot of draft picks that work the fuck out for Jerry. He does no ball. He just sometimes becomes too much of a tyrant and wants to make too many decisions. But he no ball. He don't draft bad players.
Real quick, because I know we got to move on because I want to talk about the draft before Random has to leave. The biggest issue with Kuiper, though, is that during the head coaching process, there were multiple reports saying that people in the Panthers organization were telling certain people not to apply for positions for the Panthers because of him, because he's the type to randomly yell at people in the locker room, yell at players, yell at coaches, yell at staff. Like he's very volatile behind closed doors. And so if you're already getting that rap in year 3 that like, hey, he's not someone that you want to work for because he's hostile, that's a whole nother issue on top of him making decisions. So
we've reached the point.
Boss.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ren.
You're good.
We've reached the point where Bill Simmons says this perfectly. There's new owner syndrome. Every new owner wants to make something to stamp themselves. For instance, when the Suns owner got the Suns, he traded for Kevin Durant, right? But we've seen David Tepper unable. He can't even take a joke off a mom and pop diner signboard.
Yeah, for you to actually pull up on a mom and pop diner, again, it's a microcosm of you being an egotistical, narcissistic
think about
fucker.
That, bro. He's walking into a
I'm
diner.
not gonna
take a joke.
I don't disagree with anything y'all are saying. I will just say that for Tepper specifically, now that you realize that you are egotistical, now that you realize you're being too ambitious, now you're being too volatile, I'm giving you one more year to turn it around. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to give you another year to turn it around because it's not like you can just run away from Tepper. Tepper's going to be here.
Man, that's the
but
problem.
If he learns, if he has some character development, if he grows as a person, then, hey, man, this Panthers team could actually have a decent future.
All right. Let's talk about the draft before Random has to dip.
Yeah, I agree. I did have a fun question for y'all before we talk about the draft, but we can talk about that another time. Salute though for Jason Kelce. He's been winning retirement from WrestleMania to joining Monday Night Football. The Jason Kelce stocks are up. But let's dive right on into the 2024 NFL draft, and let's not even waste any time. The Atlanta Falcons made the shock move of the draft. With the number 8th pick. If you want to see our reaction to it, go to our TikTok, go to our YouTube, watch the short where me, Riddell, Lonnie, and Jalen Carter react to that pick. And what, Riddell, since you were the most vocal, what are the Falcons doing drafting Micheal Penix Jr.? What's the plan? Because if I want to be a positive guy, they've secured their quarterback situation for the next decade. But Penix is 24. Not 21.
Yeah. I'll try to break it down because I've been so negative about this. So I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna go into their reasoning, then y'all can be as negative as you want, right? So I want to be very clear. I like Kirk Cousins and I like Micheal Penix. I like both of these quarterbacks. Their logic for this situation. And I want to also be clear. Terry Fontenot, the GM since 2021, is the same guy that just keeps on drafting offensive players every first round. So this is just who he's been this way for a while. So their idea is that they don't want to be without a quarterback after going through the Desmond Ridder year because Desmond Ridder was terrible and he was the worst quarterback in football. They realized they have a good roster, so they want a quarterback of the future. So they signed Kirk Cousins, and fortunately for them, it is front-loaded. So after 2 years, they will be able to move off that contract, and then Penix will take over. Penix will take over at that point, who has a similar style of quarterback play to Kirk Cousins, and will be able to learn under Kirk Cousins. So after that, Penix will take over after the first 2 years and be the quarterback moving forward at the age of around 26. Keep in mind, Jordan Love was also 26 when he took over as a Packers. Yes, he was under tutelage for more years, but I guess the Falcons could argue that Penix is a little bit more quarterback ready, so he doesn't need as long to learn the game.
But is Penix as good as Jordan Love?
I don't know yet. I like Penix, so I'm gonna have to see. But ultimately, they want to be with their quarterback. They said that at the very minimum, this is their words, minimum, we won't be worried about a quarterback for at least 5 years. I would have said at least 10 years if you brought in Penix, but all right, at least 5 years. So they have a quarterback of the future. They have the offensive weapons. Their defense was top 10 last year, especially in the latter half of the season. So they think that they didn't really need much. And yeah, they got Micheal Penix Jr. on the Atlanta Falcons, man. They really liked him.
When you say that,
really liked him. Hey, I try to, you know what I'm saying? The amount of times I slandered this, this time I was a little positive, a little tiny.
Can I be nasty? Can I?
Yeah, be nasty. I'm gonna be nasty.
So this tells me one of two things. Either they're incompetent, because if you wanted someone to learn under Kirk Cousins that has a lot of potential, you should have just drafted JJ McCarthy.
Thank you. I was gonna say it.
But here's another thing. Is Kirk Cousins not as healthy as that they're saying he is? Is that why they drafted a quarterback at number 8? Maybe that Achilles injury is worse than we thought. Maybe it's going to take longer for him to recover than they initially thought when they signed him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, because they signed him, and then next thing you know, he's even shocked. So maybe that Achilles injury, maybe he's not exactly the same as they thought he was going to be. So things might get a little rocky in Atlanta. But no, to be honest, to me, it was a terrible pick, not because of age, but because it's not just a regular quarterback, it's a quarterback that is older who also has an injury history.
Yep.
So you're wasting some of his prime years sitting on the bench. I mean, unless I think I said the best thing he's going to be doing the next few years is spitting some hot 16 bars on the sideline like he did for Washington. That's basically what he's going to be doing, just motivating people. But they needed a pass rusher badly. They don't have a premier pass rusher. And to be a good, consistent playoff team, you need some type of high-quality pass rusher. Does anyone know their top pass rusher?
Grady Jarrett.
Mm-hmm.
How good did he do?
Last year is all right. Their best pass rushers were Bud Dupree and Calais Campbell.
I rest my case. Okay, so they need. So Dallas Turner was right there. Latu was right there. But you don't go pass rusher first round, fine. Second round, I'm expecting a pass rusher, maybe a secondary corner, because they also need that. They go for a run stopper. I like him, but he's a run stopper specialist. That is like he's.
And they could have got Jazar Newton and
exactly. So it's like you don't address your defense that needs a pass rush and a corner in the first round. You get a run stopper when you still need a pass rush. And so it's like, at this point, what are you guys doing? Because they're not being serious.
I think you trade down with that 8th pick, because I'm just gonna be honest. You could have went and got a Spencer Rattler later, like
exactly. And the Saints and Raiders are apparently interested in their number 8th pick.
The Saints, the Raiders, and the Seahawks.
Yes, and the Raiders aren't that far off. Like, so.
And I don't think Micheal Penix is a game changer enough to where he's gonna be your face of the franchise for the next 5 to 10 years after Kirk Cousins leaves. Like, I don't see
for
that.
them, Kirk Cousins plays at least 3 years. At least 3 years is like the ideal situation based off the contract.
Even if he plays 2 years, I don't think he plays. Oh, I think after this year, they're gonna force Micheal Penix into the situation. I think Micheal Penix gives them more of a high flying offense, what they want to do. I think Kurt slows them down. If he has a great season, good. But I just feel like you went and got Kurt. It's just so many guys you could have got.
Because of the money, they're going to try to play Kirk at least the first 2 years.
Yeah, he's going to play at least the first 2 years before they have a chance to let him go or do whatever with his contract. But I'm looking.
I wouldn't even have got Kurt. You could have got Russell. I don't know.
No, I wonder. I wonder
back next year.
I wonder when the discussion.
Joe Flacco.
I wonder when the discussion or when the GM himself decided that Micheal Penix was the pick, because we all saw that clip after the pick was made where he looked like he was explaining it to Arthur Blank, the owner, about why Penix was the pick, right? Because
Arthur was looking like, why we do this again?
Yeah, because I agree with Lonnie. Latu was right there. Dallas Turner was right there. Those guys would help you immediately, especially you didn't sign Kirk to not be a playoff contender. Maybe, hopefully, we can get to a Super Bowl. That's what you signed Kirk for, right? Signing Micheal Penix or getting Micheal Penix changed, besides the fact that it changed the whole draft, and now it accelerates the timeline. Now it's awkward in the quarterback room too. Obviously, Kirk will handle himself like a professional. He always has, right? This isn't the first time he has been in a pseudo quarterback controversy. Hell, he was the guy. He played the Penix role for RG3 because he was drafting the same draft that he was. So he's no stranger to this.
But why put that pressure on him? The moment he has a bad game, and I got to be honest, guys. I know y'all like Drake London and this and that. There is no Justin Jefferson on that team, okay? There is not one.
That team's ready to win now, early. That team's ready to win now.
Kirk was cooking without Jefferson.
Bijan can be a top 5 running back this year.
Drake London's a great receiver. Kyle Pitts could
be a top.
I forgot about Kyle.
Yeah, we
he's been so mid the last 2 years. I forgot about him.
Yeah, some of us are very high on what Kyle Pitts could be, especially now that he has Kirk.
And he doesn't have Arthur Smith making him block while Jonnu is the one being the red zone target. Like they've been, that's what Arthur Smith was doing, using Kyle Pitts as a decoy while their backup tight end was getting majority of the red zone targets.
Who's their coach now?
David Canales.
Raheem Morris
coach last year. No, my bad. That's the.
I like Raheem.
Raheem Morris. He'll be a good coach. I forget the coordinator, but he's pretty good too. They're definitely gonna probably run a Kyle Shanahan type system. And Kirk will be able to succeed in that system. I'm pretty comfortable with that. As long as he's healthy, I'm expecting the Falcons to be good. I just don't. If you're gonna do this, Penix thing, at least address some of the other things. You better hope Braylon Trice is good enough to fill in as a starting pass rusher on this team, and your secondary corner being Clark Phillips. Like, what are we talking about? I don't know.
Yeah. Other than Micheal Penix, the rest of their draft was so fucking mid, though. Like, bunch of forgettable names. I'm be honest with you, man. That was a mid draft.
I wonder, because right now
it was not a good draft.
With what they've done, I think it was neck and neck between the Falcons and the Bucs for the best team in that division. Have the Falcons? Can you say the Falcons are definitively better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
No, simply because the Bucs still have a load of niggas on that team who played in the Super Bowl. Like, they have a bunch of guys who have, they got a lot of guys. But again, I think the Bucs have more camaraderie. They're coming a year off of having a successful season, being the best team in that division. So I'm going with the Bucs. And the Falcons have so much to figure out, even with Kirk coming in. I know they win now, but what we don't understand is that when you got a lot of young guys, the B.J. Robinsons and them, you got to teach those guys how to win. They don't know how to win in the NFL yet.
Well, they almost made the playoffs last year with Desmond Ridder. Keep in mind, if Desmond Ridder wasn't the worst thing on the football field last year, they could have made the playoffs, like, for sure. Like, that's how good that team was with Arthur Smith coaching and Desmond Ridder throwing the ball. He just couldn't throw the ball. Like, it was disgusting. Desmond Ridder could not throw the ball at all.
No, he wasn't good.
All right, now let's move on to another team in the draft that actually had me and Lonnie crash now a little bit because of what somebody else is trying to tell him. But Jacoby Brissett has come on the record and said he welcomes the quarterback competition between him and Drake May, right? But
competition.
But this leads on to my question: there were 5 first-round quarterbacks. Right?
competition.
How many of them will see the field this year besides Micheal Penix, unless all hell breaks loose?
Well,
How many of them do you anticipate to see on the field? Don't forget, Sam Darnold is in front of JJ McCarthy, right? And they paid
I think that
Sam
McCarthy
Darnold.
beats him out in training camp. So
I
that's
actually hope he does.
I don't think
What I
that's
see,
one.
they played Sam Darnold a pretty good contract for middling starting quarterback.
How much?
How many of them do we anticipate seeing on the field? And besides Caleb,
How much Sam get?
and Micheal Penix, which one of the three do we expect to be good? Because there's also Bo Nix as well. So with Bo Nix, Drake May,
yeah,
and JJ.
4 of them are starting.
They gave him 1 year, $10 million deal. That ain't bad.
Bo Nix starts
Daniels
by default because of who.
What?
You starting Bo Nix or Zach Wilson?
I think Zach Wilson beats him out in training camp. You heard it here first.
No,
That's
You
crazy.
heard it here first.
That's
You heard it
crazy.
here first.
But
Well, we're gonna fix this.
Whisperer.
when they say, oh, Zach Wilson is third on the depth chart, you heard it here first. You heard it here first. Then we'll click early right there.
They already denied his option early. They didn't even wait. They denied his option immediately. But let's start with Lonnie.
I didn't know that. I thought it was 1 and 2 with him and Wilson.
Team. So Lonnie, how we feeling?
You got to be third, bro.
How we feeling about first things first? How we feeling about the quarterback competition between Jacoby and Drake? And also, how many of the starting quarterbacks do you anticipate playing? And
well, the first three are playing off the rip.
Actually, with Drake May, based off of like Patriots culture, I could see him not starting right away, just off of the culture, because one, Jacoby Brissett has been a Patriot for a long time.
Oh, you didn't hear? I'm sorry. Oh, Lonnie, you're a Patriots fan, right?
Yeah.
You didn't hear that culture retired. He
Not
resigned.
Really. Not really, because
That
Jared
culture
Mayo.
resigned. Oh, you didn't know that culture?
Do you know who our head
He
coach is?
resigned.
Do you know who our head coach is?
I mean, he doesn't coach anymore.
Do you know
I heard
who
he tried to get a job with the Falcons,
and
and somebody told them, don't trust that guy. The culture is not here no more.
But do you know who the new head coach is?
The new head coach is a different guy without the same culture.
I'm sticking to what I know. And so the greatest linebacker to ever have a Patriots uniform, I feel like he might keep some of the old traditions and like trying to just make him earn it. So I can
respect Junior Seau. Respect Junior Seau.
He's not a Patriot. He's a Charger.
Tony.
Yeah, I consider Seau like more of a Charger. He wore the uniform, but like his prime
respect TB. Respect TB.
Teddy Bruschi would be my
respect TB.
Growing up,
You are nasty right now.
Mayo was him.
Respect TB. I think for me though, I think, man, you know what's so crazy though? I'm be honest with you. If y'all haven't noticed, every ex-Patriots player who leaves the Patriots, they don't have kind words to say about Bill Belichick.
No, they don't.
Cap, respect Chandler Jones and his song about Bill Belichick.
Hey, I respect. I think. Listen, at the end of the day, we've all worked at jobs where, well, not me lately, because I'm self-employed, but we for the most part, we've all worked at jobs. I have, back in the day, where you had that boss that you didn't like, but it's a job. I come to clock in. It feeds it pays the bills. It feeds the family. I think now that Bill Belichick is gone, and Mayo gets to really do his own thing, I think he goes, you know what? Let's get it. Let's have some fun. Let's change this culture. Let's chill out. Let's do something different. I think he comes with a whole new different swagger, and there's no way you are looking Robert Kraft in the eye and saying, yeah, we're going to go with Jacoby Brissett over Drake May. Hell no.
I can see that.
Hold on real quick, guys. Hold on, Lonnie. Let me tell. All right, Jalen, we just started talking about the draft. We are talking about all the rookie quarterbacks that are drafted. We're starting off with the Patriots because Jacoby Brissett came out and said he welcomes a quarterback competition between him and Drake May. How many of the first-round quarterbacks do you anticipate playing right away? And which one will be the best out of them all? But right now we're focusing on the Patriots with Drake May. That's where we're at.
I got you. I think Drake May is going to start. I just think that's competition. That's just talk. You have to say that. I think the talent. Look, I think obviously the pieces that Caleb Williams has, he's going to put up better numbers. And I think he's going to easily win Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he's going to have all that just because the pieces around him are so amazing. But I think Drake May will end up being the better pro overall. I just believe in his talent more so.
But out of all of them, who you got? We just said who plays, who starts.
Plays. Okay. So Caleb starts. I think for sure. I think Drake May will start.
Okay.
Jaden will start.
Jaden's going to start. That's
started.
3.
But Bo
And
Nix,
Bo Nix has to play by default because we see that rest of that quarterback room is not good.
That's going to be so bad.
I don't think Zach Wilson is beating.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think there's no way Zach Wilson. You know what Zach Wilson is in a sense.
And you can take your time with JJ. I know you don't. Early, I know you don't like Sam Darnold, but you can take your time with JJ. You don't have to make him play right away. The Vikings have
Drake is so talented. Drake is so talented, but his main flaw right now is his fundamentals and his footwork. What is Jacoby Brissett's best qualities? His fundamentals and his footwork. That's why I'm saying for like 4.
Well, he can teach them from the bench. Go ahead, man.
I want Jacoby at least start the first 3-4 games, and then
Jacoby will have a headset on week 1, talking to Drake May through the headphones. Nice throw, Jay. I like how you caught that.
Well, Jacoby's going to be a pro.
Wait.
Jacoby's going to be a pro.
Top 5 picks. Like top 5 QB picks tend to start right away. It's just the other guys that tend to sit. If you're drafted like 15, 20, you know what I mean? Like top 5 QBs all tend to start right away.
And with the weapons they have, Jay, the Patriots got to start Drake, man. They don't have no weapons. Speaking of weapons, did y'all hear Keyshawn Boone crashing out, threatening to kill Tusi, the singer, on Twitch?
What the hell?
What?
So Sauce Gunner had Boone and Tusi, and Tusi was basically because the whole thing came out about Boone about him betting or something like that. So he was basically telling them like, you're a loser. You were betting money on the unders and things of that nature. And they got, sometimes it's, I've been there. You cracking jokes so hard. And he got in the threatened to see like, you better come to my city and, we're going to do to you. And Sauce was trying to tell him like, yo, chill out, bro. Ain't that serious, bro? Like, we on Twitch, bro. Like, Sauce was just kind of like, sitting there like, what have I done? But he said he couldn't say too much because he's been in a situation where a guy's getting the best of him in an argument. And like, he said, but if it ever gets to the point to where you're threatening what you're going to do to him, it's gotten too far.
Yeah, that's weak. That's corny and weak. Not gonna lie. But the Patriots' weapons room is way better now. I mean, I've been saying it for so long, and even when Hellfire was crashing out, I was like, bro, all they gotta do is draft Drake May and get some receivers in the draft.
And defense still good.
Can I please talk? Because Hellfire was saying that we're like in the worst situation basically of all time. He said we're in the worst situation of all time. So we lost like 9 games by 10 points or less.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all were
9 games with no quarterback and no weapons.
Terrible.
Tell him what he said though. Tell him what he
worst
said.
Worst situation of all time.
I got you. I'll tell you Hellfire. I'll tell you. So Hellfire wants the Patriots to tank for at least 2 years to fix the offense alone. And in mid tank, he wanted them to get Russell. So when Russell Wilson was let go, he was like, the Patriots should go get Russell Wilson so they could steer them through this tanking. So they could.
No, he want Jacoby to start first. Then get Russell Wilson.
No. Early. The only reason I'm saying that because he said in his plan, ideally, Russell Wilson will be the quarterback for both years.
Wait, and he wants to wait for Archie Manning. He wants to wait for
Archie Manning. And he wanted to wait for Archie Manning. And me and Lonnie, we had this conversation with him for 3 days. Me and Lonnie were both crashing out because he wanted a 76ers style tank job in the NFL to fix the Patriots offense like the Texans just didn't fix their offense in an off season. Like that hasn't happened.
Lost Watson and is immediately good.
And that defense is still stout.
Like Lonnie said,
and Christian Gonzalez coming back.
At one point, they had a 3-week stretch where they gave up 18 points, guys. 18 points, and they lost all 3 of those games.
Who's the number 1 receiver right now?
Technically, is it probably Kendrick Bourne?
It's probably Kendrick Bourne, but hold on.
Hey. Javon Baker,
the receiving room is not set in stone because now you have Kendrick Bourne, KJ Osborne, who I think is a solid receiver, Pop Douglas, who was a rookie last year. Then you bring in Jalen Polk, who was a stone on Washington, and Javon Baker, who's a route running demon. Like you have 5 receivers that you can rotate now that can legitimately be starters on your team.
Plus, don't forget, I understand he might not.
He had the core of the draft. He said his game makes people out of wheelchairs stand up. I was like, yeah, that's the type of confidence I need for my number 1. That's the
attitude. He got the attitude.
Yeah. Plus, don't forget, I understand that he might not make the team, but Juju Smith-Schuster's still there. He's a good veteran receiver. There's talent there.
Humphrey, and what's the other tight end's name?
They lost the other one. I think they just only have Hunter Henry. But Hunter Henry is a good tight end.
Hunter Henry. And their offense is better than you think. And also, nobody's saying
And
that
Ramondre
the Patriots-
Stevenson. Shout out Ramondre.
Yeah,
He's good.
they're not. Nobody's saying the Patriots are going to make the playoffs next year. But the way Hellfire is saying they're worse than the 0-16 Lions. That's what Hellfire is saying the Patriots are right now.
Yeah, he was crashing out.
That's
Crashing completely
crazy
out.
crash out.
Like
What?
he's saying that the Patriots are going to be one of the worst teams in NFL history next year. Which I'm sorry, the Patriots right now are better than the Panthers. They're better than the Panthers right now.
Not even
So
close.
unless you're saying we're about to see some generationally bad football,
All right, I hate to do this, but all right, let's play this game. Like, if that Patriots fan wants to crash out, well, I'm a Giants fan. Let's say the defense, both defenses are a wash. Like, let's just say they both will be good top 15 defenses.
Defense clears the Giants.
All right, let's look at that's fine. I don't even care if you say that. Let's talk about the offense. Let's talk about the pieces on your offense versus the pieces on my offense, right?
Okay.
So, quarterback, Drake May or Daniel Jones?
Give me Drake May.
Drake May.
Running
Hell,
back,
give me
Ramondre
Jacoby Brissett over
Stevenson
Daniel
or
Jones.
Devin
What do you
Singletary?
say, Riddell? Drake May or Daniel?
Oh, Drake May for sure. We were trying to get Drake May. We tried to trade up to get him. Like, of course, it's Drake May over Daniel Jones.
Patriots was like, hell no.
Yeah, it's like no question. Running back, Ramondre Stevenson or Devin Singletary?
Stevenson.
I might take Devin.
Stevenson is
I
better,
got
but
Ramondre.
Devin.
I think that's a wash. I just think that's a wash.
I think Devin, what Devin showed you last year
Devin is better. Devin is better than Ramondre Stevenson.
by
it's
anticipating
not
Ramondre
far
having a
off.
better
Yeah,
season next
one
year.
good year.
None of those guys
Ramondre-
are moving me. None of those guys are really moving
I'll
me.
know. Jalen, I'll
There's
take
a-
I'll take Ramondre this
Devin
year.
has one good year in his like 10 seasons playing football. Like, let's not get fooled for one good year on the Texans, all right?
But I don't think Stevenson is as great as some people think that he is.
But
That's
he had
something I'm a
more
Patriots
good
fan.
seasons on the Patriots. Like he had, and last year was a good season for him. He played well.
And,
last
Stevenson's a hell of a receiving back too.
year. Facts.
Okay.
We got some rookie tight end or Hunter Henry because Darren Waller's probably not playing.
Darren Waller retired.
He's like 50. He's like I don't
Well,
know.
he just got a divorce from.
Yeah, well, they just got divorced. Kelsey.
From,
Oh, he got
Kelsey Plummer.
divorced.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kelsey
but
Plummer.
So, you know, he got to give her half, so he coming back for that check.
Like,
Yo,
Instagram
bro,
about
that's
it.
so tough.
Messed up the bag, bro. Kelsey
Man.
I
Plummer.
was rooting for that relationship, low key. I'm like, hey, y'all are a good relationship.
I know Josh McDaniel's smiling right now.
That's tough.
No, she basically said on like Instagram like, "Yo, he too crazy."
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
I
so
think
tough.
you know what, guys. You know, I think he had a situation where I think it was substance abuse because he had to go to rehab and change his life around. But he might have fell off the wagon, man. I don't know, and I hope not. But I think he might have fell off the wagon.
He's probably done with the NFL. So, and then the receiving core, like I mean, Malik Neighbors.
But
is
then
a
Malik
dog.
Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors is a dog, but like
Well, I like
Isaiah
I still
Hodgins,
believe in Hyatt. I believe in Hyatt.
Wandell Robinson, Jalen Hyatt.
I think
and
you
then
guys
on
have the better receiving core right now.
It's carried by Neighbors. Y'all have more.
Patriots
guys
have more
that
depth
are-
and more good guys, but your high end talent is higher.
I agree.
Yeah, and then when you add in the tight ends, who are also part of the receiving core, I think the Patriots beat them by if it's like 8-7, like it's
So,
7.55.
We went through the entire roster, not talk about coaching, and there's no way Hellfire is crashing out as much as he is, and I'm seeing my Giants roster, and I'm not nearly as bad as him. At least he has a quarterback of the future, bro. Like at least he has.
Can
a
we have
quarterback of
fun?
the future.
Can we have fun? Now let's do my Panthers. Cool. Bryce Young or Drake May?
Drake, man.
Drake, man.
I do like Brooks or Stevenson. I might go with Brooks on
I
that
have
one.
to see how he. I have to see
Let's
how
see how
that
he
plays
plays.
first.
I'll probably go Brooks.
Yeah,
See how he
injury.
plays.
Adam Thielen,
No, it's Xavier Leggett.
Xavier Leggett. I know. Let me name my guys. Jonathan Mingo, and who's the pattern? Hurst.
Hurst
Hurst,
and
yeah.
Deontay Johnson.
And Deontay
Oh,
Johnson.
and Deontay Johnson.
Deontay Johnson.
Don't even mention Mingo.
Yeah. So who we like receiver core wise?
Y'all have a
think
better.
I think
y'all
Panthers
have a better
Panthers have better
y'all have a
receiving
better
core.
receiver.
O line.
It's a wash.
It's a wash.
Now that we got rid of Burns, D line.
Well, the Patriots just did re-sign their D lineman.
I'm gonna go
For
with
a
like.
pretty big deal.
Yeah, and
I
we also
think
need
they-
to shoot on too. I'm going Patriots D line.
I think Patriots gonna have better
Y'all
defense.
have Eric
Linebacker
Brown
core?
and Jadeveon Clowney.
Linebacker
The-
core.
Patriots linebacking core is still great.
Cornerback and core with Christian Gonzalez coming back.
Yeah, give me. I think
Patriots
Lonzo
have
was
better
nice. I hate that he
Especially
got
because
hurt.
I was coming back to
Lonnie.
big.
His
Patriots have
resume
a better
before he
second
got hurt
corner.
was
Yeah.
immaculate. We don't talk about that.
He was he
enough.
was on track to win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
His
before he
resume
got
was
hurt.
immaculate. Tyreek
So-
Hill, Garrett Wilson.
So
like,
what are
it's
we
an
doing?
immaculate resume until he
So
got
what
hurt.
the fuck? What the hell is Hellfire
the
talking
main
about?
thing. The main
That's what I'm
thing with
saying.
Hellfire
His
is playing
team
the
might not
Dusty
even be
work.
like bottom 3 rosters in the NFL. Like I don't know
No,
what.
trying to
the main
tell him,
problem with
bro.
Hellfire's plan is that like if we're tanking for 2 years and we're not drafting a quarterback, that means we're addressing all of our other offensive needs. Which means by the time it's time for a quarterback, we're not going to have the number 1 pick because we're going to have a stacked roster. So,
But crazy enough,
doesn't
in the
work.
NFL draft, what did you do? You addressed all your offensive needs.
wide receiver,
That's exactly what y'all did.
offensive line, quarterback. So it's
The
like
one
we
thing you should always
What are you
do,
talking about?
and I believe everybody can
he
agree,
said we
if
didn't do it
quarterback is
correctly.
one of
We
your
didn't pick
needs,
the right people.
if quarterback is one of your needs on a team full of needs and you have a chance to address the quarterback, you should always address the quarterback if you have a chance to, especially if you're high up. So that's why I'm sitting there and I'm like, Hellfire, I do not agree with you. His plan gets anybody except for a legend fired. The only people who survive his plan are Andy Reid, or maybe I said Mike Tomlin. I don't even think Mike
Don't
Tomlin
forget,
survived
he
it
don't
now.
believe he don't even believe Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL.
So I just think I always sat there, was like, you're not
That's
being
kind of wild. That's so
realistic.
wild. Who does
Acting
he
like
think the best
like,
quarterback is?
He said
Last year he said Kirk, and then he said Lamar.
We said Kirk Cousins was the best quarterback.
And I know he thinks Josh Allen is over him.
no, but he also said Patrick Mahomes is not a generational talent. Before the
also
draft, I
think-
agree, but he said he's not a generational
Yeah, I was gonna
talent.
say before the draft, I get that, but saying
But now,
now,
I mean,
he
the
said
man
right
is
now
getting-
he's not
the
Steve
man went
Young
back
is
to back.
greater than Patrick Mahomes and better than Patrick Mahomes too.
You said who?
Steve Young is better than Patrick Mahomes.
All right, let's
Based
all right,
on
I'm
what?
gonna crash out.
I said
Look,
based on
I'm
what?
not the biggest.
Random, don't you have
Patrick
to go
Mahomes
somewhere?
defender, but
He
it's
just
that,
hates,
that's
he
bad.
can't stand Patrick Mahomes, man.
That's bad. The
Yeah,
man,
that's
the
what
man
when he's
has
threatening
been
to
in the
go.
league, been to
That's
4
all like
Super
that.
Bowls,
Get
won 3 of
mad,
them. What are we
man.
talking
Get
about? Let's
mad.
not start here and start capping. He's on the Mount Rushmore already. Let's not cap.
You know, Hellfire's frustrated when he wipes that forehead. When he puts the hand in that forehead,
He gets stressed.
I just don't know. He be so stressed out about football. He's so stressed.
I think he said Mahomes is like the 7th best quarterback in the league or some shit like that.
That's
ridiculous.
that's
It's
kind of
ridiculous to
wild.
say
Now,
that.
all time, like there are arguments for other quarterbacks based on what you value. Like if he said obviously Tom Brady, cool. Even if he said like Joe Montana, I'm like okay, Dan Marino. Like there's cases I've seen, but Steve Young's kind of crazy.
Steve Young is. I'm
Just
sorry.
know
Steve Young was great, but that's insulting.
Yeah. When Hellfire gives you that big sigh and he starts the conversation off with, here's the thing. He is finna say some bullshit. It's going to be long. It's going to be fast / slow. And it's going to be a lot of malarkey.
What do you guys think? A little off topic, but I've seen more and more kind of articles or even just like interviews where people say Dan Marino's the GOAT. I just see that like a lot of people have
I
that
think
opinion.
because of he was the first modern quarterback that we saw.
Yeah. He was ahead of his time.
If you want to maybe talk just off ability, he might be the GOAT. If you want to talk about his ability,
based on
and
your
the fact that
criteria,
he
he has
was doing it in the
interesting
80s.
He's like the Wilt Chamberlain of
He was doing it in the 80s, Riddell. So that's where I think people might be coming from. If you want to look just ability.
Relative to era. If we do relative to era, I'm
Might
not
be.
gonna lie. There's some quarterbacks that I saw some footage of, and some people's resumes before the Super Bowl era, like what's his name, Otto Graham. Crazy resume.
He had Jim Brown on his
Crazy
team.
resume.
He had Jim Brown on his team. Yeah,
He had himself on his team.
What's the one?
Yeah, Otto Graham is a dog.
Dan
What's the
Marino.
one,
Dan
what's
Marino's
the one
cooking in
that
this era
played for
too.
the Green Bay Packers? Bart Starr?
Bart Starr.
No.
That's a name. Yeah, that's a name.
No.
But look, Dan Marino's cooking in this era. Like Dan Marino is destroying this era.
He's one of those that could play.
Any era. I think he's playing any era.
If Peyton Manning never won the Super Bowl, him and Dan are the same guy.
That's what hurt. If Dan
That's what
could,
it is.
God, if Dan
got one, he's top 5 quarterback.
If Dan won that Super Bowl against Joe Montana, we talk about him completely different. Instead of being somebody
he should have
that
beat the Bengals. He should have beat the Bengals.
But also, I mean, it doesn't also help that John Shula went to multiple Super Bowls before Dan, just taking bad talent. The one time he had that great quarterback, he could only go once. So I'm just like, damn, bro.
Getting to the Super Bowl once is so weird. For his
Young, though,
talent,
got that young. And he played in the era where you can get killed out there. Yeah, guys, worry about guys like Lawrence Taylor and them. So
If Dan Marino won like 1 or 2 Super Bowls, a lot of people would have him for sure as a GOAT. If you don't value just winning a team, if you just won 1 or 2,
it's hard for me to say that considering if
the way people talk about him,
if 1 or 2 of those Super Bowls were to beat Joe Montana.
Well, he went head to head with Joe Montana.
Joe Montana calls him the GOAT.
If he ruins Joe's perfect record in '84 and beats Joe, then you talk about him, especially how stacked those 49er teams were. If he beats that one, because the way obviously I think more old heads talk about him in terms of where he ranks in NFL history in terms of QB rankings. But god damn, man, if he won that one,
if he won 1 or 2, team, oh my god.
Because
he's the one guy that like
random get out.
You're right. I gotta leave. Right? I gotta
go.
Even players of that, even players of that era, all the players of like the '80s who played in that time, they all have like most players have Dan Marino over Montana.
Yeah, other than Joe, he really doesn't have any competition.
Yeah, but if you talk about players,
Joe Montana has some of the greatest teams ever assembled.
That's the thing. Like the media and everyone loved Joe, and I get the reason.
Yeah, if you switch them out, Marino wins too.
That's what I'm saying. Like you put a lot of quarterbacks on that
more personable and more fun, so he's probably funner in San Francisco.
Yeah,
but I mean, to be fair, I mean, if we kind of transition this to the NBA, a lot of people have Kobe over LeBron in the mid to late.
Players,
even the early 2000s.
Well, players in the 2000s, I mean, I get because that was Kobe's, peak prime time. You saw the best of Kobe in 2000. 2010s is more best of LeBron, but as his contemporaries, I can see why they have Kobe as their GOAT. When you play with a guy, like that at his peak.
Yeah, I think for sure you can see when players say that certain people are better than other people, and I think that is a very fair thing to say. But when it comes to greatness, you have to produce. That's the
thing. I said there's such a difference between better and greatness, right? Being better than someone and greater than someone can be two different things.
Early, you're muted, by the way.
I wasn't talking. Go ahead. I was talking.
Okay. Also, if you guys want to send a Cash App, we put the information below, and you got to ask a question. Eventually, we'll start being able to do super chats and all that stuff. But
like and subscribe to the channel, and it's coming.
I was gonna say for you guys, who are like some of the biggest winners and losers of the draft besides Atlanta being terrorists?
Terrorists.
I'll start off right rip. A winner for sure is, and I'm interested in this team. I'm just interested to see what's gonna happen, even though I think people overrate him now, and that's the Chargers. The Chargers, since Jim Harbaugh has been there, has been cooking. Well, like people don't want to believe it, but they've been cooking. They've been doing exactly what Jim Harbaugh wants them to do, and they've been doing it well. They got new running backs. I think they drafted one too. And if J.K. Dobbins is actually healthy this time, he can be a real good running back on this team. And in the draft, they got an offensive lineman and Joe Alt to pair up next to Rashawn Slater, shoring up both tackle positions. They got a receiver in Ladd McConkey, who is good. I think he's going to be really good. I think he's going to have a really good season this year, arguably being the number one option for the team. He got 2 tight ends that can block for their team in the in free agency as well. And then in addition to Ladd, you have, of course, whatchamacallit?
They got
Quentin Johnson, Palmer. So now this receiving room is not. I think they got someone else too. I just can't.
They got Brendan Rice too.
They got Brendan Rice, and I think they got Cornelius Johnson. So this receiving core is way younger. They don't got to pay anybody, and now we get to see how they all develop, of course. And they got a linebacker in the draft as well. So they filled a lot of places. And now, based off how Jim Harbaugh coaches, the culture he's about to create, Justin Herbert being a talent. I mean, Herbert's probably not going to be going like crazy in terms of statistics, but I think he's going to be efficient, and I think he's going to win games. And I think I can finally stop calling him a choke artist because Jim Harbaugh is the coach. So, hey, the Chargers are winners for the draft for sure.
For me, it's not even close. The Chicago Bears.
For sure.
For sure, yeah.
Boy, oh boy. For you guys, and not just the draft, for you guys to make the moves y'all made before the draft, getting that pick from us, getting our guy, I'm gonna miss him. Merlin's own. And then going out and getting Keenan Allen and then drafting Roma Duze on top of getting Bryce. I've got Bryce, but Caleb, of course, with the first round pick. Man, that is a really good draft class. I also like the Miami Dolphins draft class. Miami loves speed, man. It's like NASCAR down there, dog. They love fast players. Everybody runs a 4.3 in Miami, it feels like, except for Tua. It's fat ass. Other than that, the Jets did a hell of a job. I love the Jets pickup. Even the Jordan Travis pickup later. I'm high on him. I don't care what nobody says. I think Baltimore did a great job, especially them being able to come off the year they came off and then draft good, even with having late picks. They did a great job. That's about it so far, I think. Steelers.
I think I was going to tap on the Steelers too. Yeah, Steelers to me had the best draft because I think they're the team that got the most of what they needed. They needed to fix that offensive line. I think a tackle and a center, and they got that first round. Troy Fortuna, I think it's going to be phenomenal in tackle. And I think the second round steal is Zach Frazier. I think one Troy Fortuna in another draft where there's not so many kind of offensive skill positions, he's probably a top 10 pick, if not better. I think that's how good of a tackle is. There were just so many quality wide receivers and quarterback this particular draft. He kind of fell. Even second at the center they need with Frazier. And I've seen a lot of draft where he was end of the first round pick. So to get him in the second round, I think that's solid too. And those are just two things that they needed. They really filled out what they needed, and they got really great value for the picks that they had. So
also getting Peyton Wilson later on was a huge get for them. I know
Kansas City kicked ass too.
We'll see with Xavier Worthy, but if Xavier Worthy pans out.
Yeah, what's the deal with Xavier Worthy being so 50-50? Like I read some
he has no hands.
Yeah, see, some people love it, some people hate him. It's so 50-50 with
whatever.
He has no hands.
Okay, I just want to know. Like it was every article. Like,
we've seen him having no hands.
I know he went over AD Mitchell.
But that's 80 because AD Mitchell has issues. Yeah, he has issues.
Well, I'm just saying.
It's not.
I think, and we're being honest, and I hate to say it because I know how I felt about them boys last year, but the number one draft winner has to be the Philadelphia Eagles. Jesus Christ, man. They just kept making good picks, man.
Who's their GM? He's been on a roll.
Howie.
He's been kicking ass.
He's been cooking, bro. He just keeps on cooking. It's like
two of the top three corners on my board.
Yeah.
Then you go get Jeremiah Trotter Jr., who I think is a really underrated linebacker. You come from a lineage of great linebackers. Your father is a Philly vet.
And that was a need. They needed linebackers.
And they got Johnny Wilson. Hey, if Johnny Wilson pans out on this team,
he could be moving the other tall guy.
Is he moving to tight end?
AJ Brown, Johnny Wilson, and Devontae Smith in the slot. If he pans
what was the tight end they had years ago that was super tall? Harold Carmichael. He could be a new Harold Carmichael.
I thought Johnny Wilson was going to switch to tight end in the NFL.
Well, we'll see, because if he doesn't have to switch, because they do have Dallas Goedert, if he can actually stay, because what they're gonna try to do, it's similar to when they brought in Julio Jones. Julio Jones was washed, but they needed a third receiver, especially a red zone threat that they can be comfortable with. If that's what Johnny Wilson, who's much younger and as of right now much more athletic, if he can do that, bro.
Yeah. To be 6'7", 6'8", 240 and run a 4.5, 4.49, that's pretty impressive, guys.
But to me, very underrated draft was the Bengals. The Bengals had a great draft.
He's a tight end. He's
in the first round, who I think who's like he's like 6'8", 350, like huge dude. They Joe Burrow, I think, is like one of the top 3 most sacked quarterbacks.
Yeah, but Jesus Christ, he needs blocking.
Yeah, so getting him, then they got Chris Jenkins, who is a D tackle. I think he's gonna definitely help, especially if Hawkinson does end up leaving. But also
Chris Jenkins Jr. He's actually the son of Chris Jenkins that played for the Panthers.
I'll bet.
But Jermaine Burton, I feel like he could eventually be your number 2. Like if T. Higgins leaves, I think you just put Burton right in that role, and I think he can excel. So I think he can run all the routes that he needs to. He's strong enough. He's fat. He's just fast enough to be a number 2. You still have Jamar Chase, but. So I feel like they filled all their needs and needs that they might need in the future. So
Yeah, he was a sleeper for me, Jermaine Burton. He also didn't drop a single ball last year in college, although he didn't play as much minutes as someone like Malik Washington or Marvin Harrison. But the fact that he got like over 700 yards, I think over 7 touchdowns, and didn't have a single drop plays into how good I think he is. It's just the fact that he just slapped a woman on live TV. That's just like
insane.
It's crazy.
Lonnie, how old are you? Lonnie, yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's why he kept on dropped in the draft.
That's kind of tough.
Crazy. Lonnie, how old are you?
28.
Yeah, think about it. Riddell, how old are you?
I was like,
what the hell?
I am 27, I think.
You think?
I stopped keeping track after like 24. Not gonna lie.
Hilarious. So me and Jaden just turned 30.
30 club.
Do y'all feel old that we are literally in the era of juniors? Marvin Harrison Jr., Frank Gore Jr.,
I feel
Chris
you.
Jenkins Jr.,
Players we grew up watching.
Jeremiah Trotter Jr. It is so many. We watching Jerry Rice's son play. Like, dog, we are really
James
in the
son might be
era
is probably gonna be in the league next year.
We watch the guys that we love have kids to play in the NFL.
Yep, no, it's real. We in that age bracket now. We in that age bracket.
When Bronny shows up to the league next year, I'm gonna feel so old, bro. I'm gonna feel so old.
I already feel old.
Also Frank Gore Jr. just got signed by the Bills as an undrafted free agent.
Yeah,
bro. I knew I was old when I saw TikTok and they just went around asking what was Usher doing at 7:00 and people didn't get it. People didn't get it. Like students coming and didn't get it.
Have y'all seen the TikTok of people telling their kids like, "How do you hold a phone?" And they do this instead of this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, I'm so used to I'm on the line because I grew up with landlines. Like, I grew up with landlines, and they like kids don't know how to like hold a phone because they only know they're doing like this, like hold a phone. This.
I never had a landline. I had a flip phone.
But even with a flip phone, you had to.
Yeah, you get a BlackBerry, they'll flip out. They're like, what is this?
It's just certain cultural references that they won't know. Also, the other part that day, I was outside at like one of the bars and clubs, and we was talking about like Nelly and Ashanti, right? And people don't realize like they're Pat. They just think they're a new couple. I'm like, what? You guys don't understand Nelly and Ashanti, like what they were, the whole storyline with them.
They've been together before Kevin Hart was famous.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just like, damn. But no, think about it, like 20-year-olds wouldn't know that, right? They just didn't kind of grow with them. Like, all right.
Facts. It's a new era. Also, J and K. I also think that the Chiefs with the tackle they got will be an interesting pick moving forward. And that one tight end could, if he develops properly, he can be a guy next to Travis Kelce and maybe take over for Travis Kelce.
Speaking of tight ends,
if Xavier Worthy can't catch Patrick Mahomes passes, then he really can't catch, guys. We'll see.
Tough.
Facts. What were you saying, Lonnie?
Drops and concentration catches were these biggest knocks. At least
to be fair, Tyreek Hill has the same issues, but like at the very least, Tyreek Hill can win in the contested catch point. I don't think Worthy's ever going to win in a contested catch. Yeah, at the best, he could be Deshaun Jackson in terms of just being wide open, just being open because he's so fast.
But what was I saying? Like, yeah, Brock Bowers to me was like, if we're just talking about just off of talent, he was like a top 5 talent in the draft. Him going to Raiders was like, what the hell? Because they drafted the best tight end prospect last year.
Yeah, that was really annoying when they drafted like Brock Bowers. I'm like, bro.
baby Brock, they called it baby Gronk, Michael Meyer. But I do believe that they can run a 2 tight end set, and you gotta understand too, they still got O'Connell. So I do feel like the more weapons you put around a media quarterback, the better they can be.
Playing. Gardner Minshew's playing.
Oh yes, they have Gardner Minshew. Redemption season. Hey, listen, I did not know they had Gardner Minshew. They have Gardner Minshew?
Yeah, he's a new quarterback.
My God. If they run a 2 tight end set, it is going to be one of the best things you've ever seen, dog. Because you don't even need an extra receiver. Jacoby Myers is he's just literally a cherry on ice cream. You have Devontae Adams. You have, because you can spread Mike Meyer and Bowers out. Ooh, that's going to be a nice receiver core. That's a mismatch city because you can't put a corner on them guys because they're too strong. If you put a tight end on them, they'll kill them. Ooh, they can really. The Raiders are in the right path. I think if not for the Chiefs, the Raiders will probably win the division next year. But I'm giving a prediction. They might still win they might still win the division next year, even with the Chiefs being the Chiefs.
They won't even be better than the Chargers.
Yeah, I don't.
Do we want to put some money on they'll be at least first or second?
I don't care about the Chargers enough.
$50. You care about the Chiefs?
I'll do that. I'll
First or second? No, I mean if the Chiefs are first, I don't really care.
Raiders will be the first.
I'll put $50 on that.
Oh, that's easy money. Come on, Early. Come on.
All right.
I'll put
Shake
$50
on it. Shake on it.
Come on, Early.
All right.
Come on. Hey man, if I lose
you
this
already
bet,
know.
I'll be
you
humble,
already
bro.
know it's finna be. I'm finna be. Y'all know who I am when I get attached to somebody. It's finna be Gardner Minshew season. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna give him the same juice I gave Brock Purdy and watch him flourish.
Hey, I think this will be my third bet that I have for this season. I have a Garrett Wilson bet going on, and then now we have I bet you 50 and I bet Manny 50 with double or nothing, saying that if Garrett Wilson gets above 1,500, I get he gets 100, and if he gets below 1,200, then I get 100 from Manny.
Fair, okay.
So we'll see, man. Let's see. I'm gonna be rooting for Garrett Wilson's downfall all year. Crazy. That's tough. That's tough.
That's so evil. I hate betting against a guy because now you got to root for them to lose. That is the worst.
Oh, for sure, man. Shout out Mike Williams though. He can get all the yards.
Yeah, when he goes for like 150 the first game with A-Rod, you're gonna be like, oh shit.
I do believe that they're run heavy. But I mean, if Garrett Wilson is any, and here's the thing about Manning. Do you know how good of a receiver you got to be to get 1,500 yards? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if
he has a 1350 year, if he has a Brent Ayuk year, that's a hell of a year. Those 1,500 up, that's like upper, like when you get to the 1,600 column, that's upper echelon receivers, dog. That means you will get most receivers get that when they have nobody else on their team. Either you're really talented or you have nobody else on your team, and you're getting force fed like a CeeDee Lamb, or like I said, you're really talented like a Tyreek Hill. Huh?
For me and you, it's Garrett Wilson for 1,300 yards.
1,300. Okay, that's fine.
That's more doable. But 15 means he is getting fed. 1,500 yards for Garrett Wilson means 800 yards for Breece Hall. It means
Mike Williams not getting that many touches.
Bro, Manny thinks Garrett Wilson's better than AJ Brown, bro. Like
Manny is a boy, oh boy. Once Manny believes in somebody, he will lock on them like in a. But his shit is just, it don't even make sense. Like it's too unrealistic. That's what Manny's problem is. His shit is unrealistic. He believes a little too hard for me.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. Any other winners, losers? I like what the Rams did in the draft, getting some D-line with Jared Verse, Braden Fisk to help kind of recover from Aaron Donald retiring. Getting Blake Corum got a 1-2 combination with him and Kyron Williams. I started moving around. I think I'm starting to like it. The Rams are going to be a good team, and I've been saying the Rams are going to be dangerous for a while. Hey, y'all keep sleeping on the Rams. They're going to come and beat your favorite team. Like, if the Rams had a better defense against the Lions, they would have won.
You know who I also feel got a lot better? The Packers. The Packers.
A lot better? I think they got better. Not a lot better.
Maybe not a lot, but I feel like they got the best safety in the draft. He's definitely the hardest hitter. Out of Georgia, I liked him. They improved the offensive line. They got Josh Jacobs. Because to me, Aaron Jones is kind of breaking down. So I feel like they're gonna have a better season than last year. Because they shored up their secondary. If Jair can keep his head on straight. Because I still don't know. Because didn't he make that Instagram post that like, hey, I thought he said like goodbye to the Packers like on an Instagram post, and we were all talking about it, and then like we just never heard from him again.
So
yeah,
I want to say this before we go. Two things. One thing actually. Who is the team that no one's talking about, but y'all think will make some noise in a surprising way? And who is your offensive rookie of the year? Who is your defensive rookie of the year? Who is your defensive player of the year? who is your who's your MVP, and who's your coach of the year?
That's a lot.
You just asked me like a million questions, so I gotta think about it.
Fags.
Let's go one. We'll go one for one. So first up, who's rookie of the year for you, Riddell?
Well, offensive rookie of the year, Caleb, for sure.
Okay. What about you?
If I had to have a dark horse, it'd probably be low key Lad McConkey. That's my dark horse.
Okay. What about you?
My dark horse would be Jada Daniels, because the Commanders also had a good draft. I feel like the thing with Cliff Kingsbury, the things that he's gonna be asked to do, he's gonna have a lot of flash, explosive plays, and he might have more like explosive, like highlight plays than Caleb Williams has. Just off of how Kingsbury's system and how it works and how he's so electric with his legs.
I'm gonna go with Caleb, but my dark horse is Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he comes into the league in his 1,400 yards. He might do some Randy Moss rookie year type stuff, man. When we looking at fucking 15 touchdowns and 1,400 yards, man. Like so that's my dark horse. Because I think Caleb will have to get acclimated, and I do believe that as good as that Bears team can be, I think he will have some bumps starting off, even though our receiving core is so good. But I do believe in Caleb. But like I said, dark horse is Marvin Harrison. Who's defensive player of the year, Riddell? Rookie.
Defensive rookie of the year. This is gonna be tough. It really depends on how much minutes Latu plays, because their defensive line for the Colts last year was already pretty good. They actually were like top 5 in sacks. They didn't really need Latu, to be honest. They needed cornerback, but they went pass rusher fine. So it depends on how much Latu plays. If Latu is like a full-time starter, then he would win it. I don't think he will be. So the one I'm going to go with, because I feel like Vic Fangio is going to cook, I'm going to go with Cooper DeJean. I think Cooper DeJean on this Eagles team is going to be, I think he's going to play safety. And we saw what Fangio did with Justin Simmons. All pro, first year. Cooper DeJean and his versatility, what Fangio is going to do with this guy is going to be amazing. And he's going to be a player that's going to scream off the screen immediately. Like, people are going to be looking for Cooper DeJean. So I think he could win Defensive Rookie of the Year for sure.
I think Quentin Mitchell can have a better season than Cooper DeJean based off when I think not just athletically, but I think like scheme wise, he might fit a little bit better. And he said before the draft, when they asked him who he models his game after, he said Darius Slay. And guess who he's gonna be playing with the whole season? Darius Slay. But to me, I think Dallas Turner is probably gonna be Defensive Rookie of the Year. They're gonna plug him right into that Hunter role because he just went to the Texans. And I feel like he's gonna.
I don't think he will. They got Greengard.
I think Dallas is a beast, and I feel like I think he could get like 8 to 10 sacks this easy.
So I think for me, guys, I just really like Dallas Turner, and I think that he's in a situation where he can really get off and be the guy. Another person for me, surprisingly, I like Brian Murphy too to be in the talks. I think him being able to have Devin Witherspoon on the other side of him, and kind of contribute right away on that number 2 corner. I really like Brian Murphy, but I'm gonna go with Dallas Turner. I do like Latu, but Dallas Turner just showed
Brian Murphy, I'm pretty sure, is a D tackle.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm bugging out. I think I meant to say with him having in the backfield, I like Brian Murphy for because I think no one else is on that D line for Seattle. So I think
it's pretty.
I will say a sleeper pick would be Terrion Arnold out of Alabama, because with the Lions, the main thing that they also needed, like the Eagles, was secondary help, and I think he can be a number 1 corner in this league.
Yeah, he'll get a lot of love. I think he'll be able to. Same way with I think with Brian Murphy. You'll be the guy that, like, if you make a difference, same way I look at Jalen Carter last year, if you make a difference, it'll be noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, shout out Jared Verse. He could also make some noise on the Rams.
Who's your defensive player of the year?
Depoy. I mean, it's bound to happen. Going Micah. for Micah Parsons to win Defensive Player of the Year at this point. I mean, Nick Bosa's won his. TJ Watt's won so many. Myles Garrett finally won his. Micah, it's just bound to happen, and I think
like a here nigga.
Yeah, kind of. Maybe Chris Jones.
Mm.
Maybe
I was thinking
Chris
Max
Jones.
Crosby.
Talk, Riddell. I mean, Lonnie. Listen, dog. I think I watched what he did last year. I think they'll win more this year, so I think his impact will show more. I think Max Crosby and this new Raiders team. I'm high on the Raiders this upcoming year, guys. I think he is due for a Defensive Player of the Year, especially with the way this team is being set up. I think he is a top 3 lock for Defensive Player of the Year this year. And I'm rooting for Max Crosby too. I'm with you, Lonnie. Max Crosby, my guy.
A big thing with these awards is also like the storyline and like the story behind it. We saw how much their head coach last year was getting so much praise for like putting all that energy into them. And I feel like if they start off great this season, they're gonna be like, yo, look at this coach, look at this defense, look at their best player, which is gonna be Max Crosby. And so like all eyes are gonna be focused on Max Crosby, and I feel like he's gonna have the numbers to put it up.
Okay, I think he'll have a Jared Allen type of game record year. Who do you like as the MVP?
CJ.
I mean, he's gonna be throwing to Nico, Tank, Stefan. He has Joe Mixon in the backfield with that try hard Pierce. I feel like he's gonna be I feel like he's gonna win enough games and be able to put up the numbers.
This is where I'm gonna
he's
go.
NFL darling, so he has a storyline with that too.
Well, Lonnie, we know who you picking now. Which one you got, Riddell?
I want to change my DPOY and push this agenda now. Brian Burns on the New York Giants. Our defensive line has Dexter Lawrence. Avon Thibodeau. Hey, Brian Burns.
What is the history between Carolina and the Giants? Because we always trading people back and forth. We gave y'all John Beeson. We always trade.
Better than Burns though.
Who?
Who? No, I don't know why I said Thibodeau. Like I was talking about
Dexter Lawrence, but Brian Burns is gonna have more sacks. And I think
who's the DN that you guys drafted a few years
ago?
I
think
he could be better than Burns.
No, he won't. He won't be.
I think he can be better than Burns. Not that Burns is awesome. I think
Burns about to cook. DPO like Burns, but my MVP, I'm gonna go. You know what? I was gonna go this one pick, but I think he's getting a little disrespected. So I'm gonna push it. It's crazy for me to root for this guy because I never would have rooted for this guy, but people were getting nasty this offseason. Josh Allen.
There it is.
Will be the MVP of the NFL. He's about to cook with these Bills.
I think the narrative, Riddell, I think a lot of y'all say CJ because he has everything. I think for that exact reason is why Josh Allen gets it, because now if he throws 50 plus touchdowns, if he scores 50 plus touchdowns, leads his team to the playoffs with a high seed, it's going to be all Josh Allen. It's going to be all he took him there. He's the guy. I think the reason why we believe in CJ so much because the help is the same reason why we'll help Josh Allen, because he's going to be doing it on a curve where I got to do everything. So if we're successful and we're winning, if I'm scoring a lot of touchdowns, I'm the MVP. I think he'll have a Cam Newton-like year.
I will say this.
Not the winning record, but just the impact.
If Keon Coleman pans out to be actually great, or not great receiver, like a solid number one receiver, I could definitely see Josh Allen win an MVP.
Even if Keon Coleman's a 900, even if he has a right year, 900.
If he has like 800 yards, like 850,
but yet
Josh
still throws 37 touchdowns and runs for 15 touchdowns.
Because I feel like they should take the Chiefs formula, make Kincaid your number one receiver.
Well, word is that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
that's the reason
why
they got rid of what's his name. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why they got rid of Stefan. This is me actually hearing from actual people that know the front office. The reason why Stefan left is because they're pushing Kincaid to be like the guy. This upcoming year, if you're a fantasy drafter this upcoming year, put your money on Kincaid. He will be 1,000-yard guy, 10 plus touchdowns. He's going to get fed this year.
Yeah. Also, shout out Jalen Hurts for the Eagles. That team is gonna be so good. They might lose one game. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
They might lose one
And
game.
he might get MVP just off of how great the record is. And if he throws a couple touchdowns, you know, a la Brock Purdy, you know, he'll be in top 3 votes. Who we got coach of the year?
Coach of the year.
Who was it last year? Was it D'Amico?
No.
Did Micheal win it? No? Did he win it?
Oh, I think it was wasn't it Kevin? It was Kevin? Didn't he win it again? Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin Stefanski. Yep, he
He
definitely
won
won
it again.
Nico Ryans.
Shout out Kevin Stefanski for winning 2 Coach of the Years. He's great. Coach of the Year. It has to be a coach that's doing way better than expected. And the only team that I'm like, okay, I'm looking at you that you could do way better than expected. I think
Still my answer.
low key. I know people are gonna get mad at this. I think Matt Eberflus can win Coach of the Year, bro. Like, if the Bears are cooking, like for real, if the Bears are cooking, that defense is gonna be good, and Caleb Williams is doing good. And the whole narrative about Eberflus that he should have got fired, and this year they were maybe wins the division.
I should have said Antonio Pierce. My fault. I should have said Antonio Pierce.
Then Matt Eberflus, people are gonna be talking about. Yeah, he's Coach of the Year. He's Coach of the Year.
Who you got, Lonnie?
I should have said Antonio Pierce.
You're a dick. Why you stop telling my answer?
He has the momentum.
I think that's the guy. I think I'm already pushing the narrative. They're going to have the best team, the best record in the division. They're going to lead the division, and I'm also pushing Max Crosby. I'm also pushing for Gardner Minshew to be a comeback player of the year, or maybe even an offensive player of the year type of candidate. But I'm pushing for. I think Pierce is the one. I think he's the one. That, and I also did that narrative of like having one of the few black coaches who's actually successful in the NFL. I think he leads the Raiders to 11-5, 11-6, 12-5 season. And I think that he is either tied with the Chiefs or better than the Chiefs. Hopefully better so y'all can pay me. And I think he wins Coach of the Year. Either him or they finally give it to Micheal Ryans because the Texans might be really good this year.
I agree. They will be really good.
Robert Saleh is a sleeper if the Jets just go crazy this year, though.
Yeah, you're right. And I think on that note too, I think Aaron Rodgers is also a sleeper for MVP, or comeback player of the year, either one of those. But yeah, man, that's been our time, man. Appreciate you guys for coming in, showing us love, sending any cash apps or PayPals. We will be back. Second date, we're having a new date, so we will be back Saturday at 8:00. 7 to 8 o'clock. We will have the notification up by Friday. Now we're doing 2 episodes a week. A lot of the young guys will be here. Manny, Devin, Oots. You know, hopefully Riddell or Lonnie can make it. But yeah, man, we'll start doing 2 episodes. And if you watch, you know, PC and you watch the panel, I've been on a couple episodes of the panel. I'll continue to root for and shout out Open Field. So, man, appreciate you guys for coming, man, helping us build this thing, dog. We're now at 330, 340. Continue to like and subscribe. Tell a friend who loves football to come follow and subscribe to the channel, man. Hey, it only gets greater from here. We're starting football season to be here before we know it, and it's going to really turn up. Got a lot of surprise guests coming when the football season starts. Just wait and see. But, hey, man, thank you guys for following us and subscribing to the channel, man.
Yes, sir.
Anything you boys want to say?
The Celtics blew out the Heat by 34 points.
Yep, knew that was coming.
Yeah, it was like they were like, ain't no way we lost to this team. They were out for revenge. That's called a revenge.
That's a sweep, right? We out of here, right? We out of there, right?
Yeah,
4-1.
So.
Yeah,
4-1.
thank God. Thank God. What are we doing? Lakers and Mavs before we go. Right before we go.
Mavs and the Clippers.
Of course you Mavs. I don't want to talk to you, Verdell. Who you got, Lonnie? We know who you going with.
Luka. Hey, we here, bro.
The only reason why I would say for this, I think it's going to go in 7 games. The only reason why I would say Mavs for this game is because Luka was pissed at how he played, and he said he felt how he let Kyrie down and all that. So I feel like he's just gonna go out trying to go crazy. I think he's gonna drop like a 40-point triple-double today. And Kawhi's still not playing. So
Don't
they're
need him. They
they're
blow him out
better-
every time he doesn't play.
they're
They don't
better
need him,
without
but
Kawhi.
no, I think it'll
Yeah.
be a close game, but I think the Mavs will win this game. But I still can see the Clippers winning the series. I think it's gonna go 7. So
All right. Well, see you fellas Saturday at 7 to 8. We out.
Oh, you and me that day.
press the button.